I can't tell you what he said, but what he said was akin to the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plains. And I'm like, mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy. And we both hung up and I said, I got to go. She goes, what do you mean you got to go? It's 11 o'clock at night. I said, I got to go. So that triggered a 3-hour surveillance detection route, which then led me to a meeting in the parking lot of a closed business from 2 to 4 a.m. And then another 2-hour surveillance detection route back home so that I could take a shower, shave, get dressed, and go do my day job at the American Embassy. Well, part of that meeting was me sitting in a garbage dumpster waiting for another guy to drive by and throw a bag of documents in. So I get home at 6 a.m. And she's like, what's her name?
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. And I said to her, do I smell like I've been with a woman?
All right.
Like, seriously? I said, you got to stop, Joanne. You got to stop. I was working. You know I was working. Yeah, well, we'll see about that, you know. And we ended up getting divorced, I don't know, 18 months later, I guess it was.
Where were you living at that time?
Athens.
Okay. The other thing is, I thought you were, so you said you were an analyst at first. For how many years were you an analyst?
7.5 years.
Oh, geez, that was a huge jump. So 7.5 years, and then you moved, and okay.
I was going nuts with the boredom.
Right.
It was Iraq, 24 hours a day, Iraq. And, you know, Bill Clinton was president at the time, and I'm like, well, clearly this administration's not serious about Iraq.
Right.
Right? I got to do something different. Otherwise, I'm going to be here after 30 years still talking about Iraq. So there's an internal classified job board in the CIA computer system, and this job popped up. And it was for a counterterrorism operations officer in Athens. And it said that the successful candidate will speak either Greek or Arabic. And as it turned out, I was the only person in the entire CIA that spoke both Greek and Arabic. So I went down to the guy that was in charge of hiring, a recently returned, like, very senior station chief. And I introduced myself and I said, listen, I don't have any operational experience whatsoever, nothing, but I'm fluent in both Greek and Arabic. And he says, you've got to be kidding me. I said, no, seriously. I saw the listing. And he said, okay, listen, I want you to take a couple of operational tests, which I aced. But he said, it is a lot easier and a lot cheaper for me to take a linguist and teach him operations than to take an operations officer and teach him how to speak Greek and Arabic.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So they gave me the job. I went through the training. It was something called the Operations Course Accelerated, because I didn't need what they called at the time CIA 101. This is what this office does. This is what this other office does. I had already been in for 7.5 years.
Right.
I knew what all the offices did. So I went straight to the meat of the operational training. And it's a lot of weapons and driving and explosives, and then the sort of day-to-day job of recruiting spies to steal secrets.
I'm still focused on the fact that you were the only person that out of the CIA that spoke both languages. Like you would think, you know, I understand after 9/11.
That's the key right there.
There was a huge shift where they kind of sat back and they said, all of our people look the same. They all have like we're not diversified enough to infiltrate or necessarily even understand these other cultures. We're just monitoring right now, but we're not really able to do it properly because we're not diversified enough. You know, it's all 6 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyed.
Exactly.
Men with degrees and with law degrees or
yeah,
whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's an amazing.